Hey, welcome to Nitro Nation. I'm Big Duke. I'm back. I know I've been off for a couple weeks. I've got some stuff going on down here in Florida. Just opening up my new infrared inspection business, so we've been pretty busy. But I got some special guests tonight: Shawn Reed and Jordan Vandergriff. And guys, thanks everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in, coming by tonight, taking some time out of your night. I know it's been busy. I know it's been quite a whirlwind since Seattle. I know the unfortunate spill there in qualifying, but let's dig right into that. Getting down Broadway there, and pop goes the weasel on the right rear tire, and all hell breaks loose. Shawn, take us through that and kind of tell us, like what do you guys think happened? How I know the right rear exploded and it kind of took out the right spill plate, and you really have no control. But kind of take us through
Yeah.
that. Tell us what happened there.
Yeah, well, you know what? I've never really been in a wreck before, so I really wasn't expecting it, of course. But it did. Just kind of like what you said, the right rear let go, and the flap of the tire just happened to go through the wing on the right side, and we were on a pretty good pass. I I can tell you what I remember. I remember thinking I was on a pretty good pass. I know I was running Doug Kalina, who went low a Q1, went low a Q2, and here we are in Q3. And man, I just barely saw his wheels, and then he disappeared right away. So I'm thinking to myself, man, we're on a good run. I'm hanging with the guy that's low one and two, and uh, and then I felt this weird kind of movement in the car, and it just went hooked and went dead left, and I steered it and tried to get out of it, but there was no saving it, and I remember the initial impact, um, and then I don't really remember too much of anything else. I remember bits and pieces. I remember getting in the ambulance, and then a few hours later, I don't remember getting in the ambulance, and then I remember going into surgery, and then a day later, I don't remember going into surgery. So I was remembering some short-term stuff, but then forgetting about it. So um, went through about 8, 9, 10 days of narcotics, and my brain was pretty much fried. And now I'm on the mend again. I think I got my wits about me, and woke up and I realized I'm missing a finger. But you know what? I got three more on that side. We'll be good.
Hey, that's there you go. That's what it takes sometimes, right? So we were talking before we started recording there. And now I was under the impression before you said something that man, if you lose a finger in a wreck, it's probably a pretty bloody mess. But it really, like you said, it was just a break and kind of an internal wound. Take us through that. Like what do we think happened? How did what's the deal with that?
With the hand, or how it
Yeah, with
happened.
yeah with the finger. Yeah, with the finger
Yeah, I
like
mean,
that.
like I said, I think we don't really know. I mean, we really don't know. I mean, I think that I broke my finger in the initial impact in the wheel, and then pretty much think that um, pretty much I think the hand either hit the wall, or a piece of the wall. I broke the wall, so a piece of the wall came in, or it got smashed in a bar, or something else happened. I have no idea. Um, Hang on a second, my phone's going crazy here. Good.
Popular man
Um,
at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, hey,
Oh my God! I'll tell you what, it's my work guys back in Seattle. They're just getting off work. At 5 o'clock. So that's
Right.
probably, I think it's my mechanic texting me a bunch of pictures of something somebody messed up. But
Of course.
anyway, so basically, I think my hand, hit the wall. It got smashed. That finger got smashed somehow, somewhere, some way, and yeah, just would this is one of the things we're probably not going to know really what happened. Same thing with the tire, and same thing with the wing. I mean, basically I say it like there's been a lot of tire failures. There've been wing failures. There've been a lot of failures, but I all the little holes in the Swiss cheese, they all lined up perfect for my accident.
Yeah.
And I'm not a blamer. I'm not a shamer. I'm just a guy that's going to get back in the thing and stand on the pedal again. And can't do it for a couple races. So right now I got JV in the car, and
Well,
it's just gonna let him live his dream, man.
That was going to be one of my questions there. How did we tap Jordan? It's a short notice. And we're in the thick of the playoffs. In the thick of the hunt for the playoffs, and how did we tap Jordan, and how did that process come about? It seemed pretty quick. Obviously, it had to
Yeah.
be made pretty quick. So how did we get that going?
Yeah, well, I mean, really pretty simple. I mean, I really, still don't really know if I needed to put anyone in the car for Brainerd or Indy, just because of the lead I had, securing the number 10 spot. But once I heard number 11 spot was going to run these two races, I'm like, man, if they have a pretty good showing, in Brainerd, and a decent showing in Indy, I may be on the outside looking in, and um, you know. I have a full-time crew, and I have two cars for a reason in case I crash one, which I did. So the other ones, I mean, we could have ran Sunday morning in Seattle if I would have had a driver. I mean, I wasn't really alert enough to make that just
Right.
call. But the guys want to get back to work. I'm paying them. I mean, you can only sweep the shop so many times. We went one way, we went the other way, went vertical, we went hashtagged it.
Crossed hatch and everything
Yeah,
else.
we can
Good to
only
go.
we're running out of work to do, so we got to go blow up some parts, I guess. And so the mathematical numbers look pretty good for me, but I can get caught. So I just decided so the guys need to go to work, and I dabbled with putting Jordan in the car, Jordan in my spare car in Epping this year, because we had a short field. So we had talked back then, and then it just didn't really happen. And even before that, I mean, everybody sure knows that we were teammates with his uncle in 2019,
Mhm.
Bob Vandergriff Racing, and he drove one car, and I drove 10 races. I think you drove 10 or 11 races, and our relationship kind of started back then, and I've just always liked Jordan, and so I just like always. I think he deserves to be out here, and I wish he was. There's a lot of people that I really wish were out here. We need more guys like Jordan in the sport, and a lot of girls need to be out here. A lot of guys need to be out here. A lot of the younger guys need to be out here. Younger people need to be out here. So, it's just a good fit. I know he can handle the car. I know he's eager. He's good on the lights. He'll do a fine job for us up there in Brainerd.
So Jordan, what was that conversation with you? Did that kind of catch you by surprise? And I know, I mean, obviously, if you're any sort of racer, you're like, hell yeah, let's go for it. I'm in there. But how did that process come about? And obviously you're excited about it. But what do you think, or what do you feel like maybe is going to be your biggest challenge to get up there and go into competitive mode again? I know
Yeah.
you haven't raced since like 2019, and we've been testing.
Yeah.
But now we're getting on there to put it down Broadway in a competitive atmosphere. What do you think your biggest challenge is going to be getting into that?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, me and Shawn had been teammates in 2019, so our relationship started there. And I love Shawn as well. I know he said some very nice things about me, and I can say the same things about Shawn. He's always been great to me, a great role model and mentor for me as well. In everything in life, and he's always been there for me. And he always told me that if something ever happened to him, that I could possibly be the person to step in. And then unfortunately, something did happen. So the process was, yeah, it did it come as a surprise? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, he always told me that I could possibly be the guy if something were to happen. And he liked to have a little fun with me. By the way, we talked for a few days, and then when the final phone call came, I said, "Okay, Shawn's calling. I think this is it. This is the decision right
Here
here."
we go.
He calls me up. He goes, "Well, Jordan, I got some bad news." And I said, "All right. Well, you know what? Wasn't meant to be. It's not me. It's somebody else. Okay." And then he goes, "I got bad news. You're driving my car in Brainerd." So I was like, "Come on, Shawn, you really had to do it that way?" But he had to give me.
Heck yeah, I had to do it that way.
He had to
I've
give
been
me.
teasing,
What better way to do it?
I've been
Yeah,
teasing
yeah.
him ever
So,
since. I mean, I call him 2 or 3 times a day, and every time my name comes up on the screen, I know he's thinking I'm canceling on him.
Right.
I know. No. But he called. He said, you're going to drive the car in Brainerd. So I said, yeah, all right, let's do it. What do I got to do? What do we got to do? So, and then getting back, it's going to be my first race competitively. I've made some test runs over the years since 2019, and I've had a feel for other cars as well. I think the biggest challenge is just getting in that race mindset, right? Like you can go out and make test runs, you can go out when nobody's in the crowd, whatever, you just go down there straight down Broadway. But it's a whole different atmosphere when the fans are there, when all the other cars are there as well, and you're all qualifying for the first time on a race weekend, trying to go quick, trying to go fast. So but I think I'll be okay. I think I'm fairly confident in myself. I always have been, and I think knowing those feelings never leave you. Driving these Top Fuel cars, there's nothing like it, and it's so intense, it's so physical. Like the memories never leave your brain. So I just know I got to get out there, make the first hit, go right down through. We'll go quick. We'll go number 1 Q1, and then it'll all be easy from there.
There we go. That's what I was thinking earlier. I was like, man,
I love that attitude, man. I just try to stay in the top half and not crash things.
No. Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking earlier that I've made a handful of super gas passes in my life, and that was always good. But I can't imagine. I know how difficult it would be to get back into a super gas car and just make a pass right now. But even testing, getting back into that Top Fuel car and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then hopefully you make 4 more passes after that, right? That's the ultimate goal. But going to go 8 competitive passes, man. Those first couple are probably going to be probably not going to really remember much of them, right? It's going to be such a whirlwind. I bet you're excited about that.
We got one pass to get them ready we got one qualifying session to get them ready for the next 3, and then them 4 get them ready for Sunday morning. You know, and that's just come Sunday morning, the things will be put on kill, and we're gonna try to crack the whip on whoever we're running. I can promise you that.
There you go.
Yeah. I think how violent these cars are and how intense it is. It really actually is a benefit to you. I know it could be nerve wracking and everything like that, but like I said, the feeling of it, you don't forget it. Like you literally cannot forget it. So
nope.
I've made some test passes, over the years, and you hop back in and you're a little nervous, but then as soon as you make that hit, you go, okay, I know this feeling. I know the car wants to go here. I know it wants to go there, and you just react to it. So it's going to be, Q1, I'm sure I'll be nervous, but as soon as that car fires up, it's going to flush out and you're focused on your job. Yeah.
Shawn, going back to you over the years, watching Diamond P Sports quarter mile crashes and everything else. One of the Top Fuel crashes, or one of the pro crashes, really too, that stands out was when Kenny Bernstein crashed, and he come out and he said, I feel like one of them quote unquote Nastin Cup car drivers. His bell was rung quite a bit. How was that feeling getting out of the car? Like you said, you were shaking around pretty bad. Guy, you see those wrecks are always violent when the rail cars get turned the wrong way. How much of it do you actually remember, and what was the feeling right after that?
I really thought I remembered it. I from what people tell me, I helped get myself out of the car. They wanted to cut the top off, and from what I understand, I said, look, my legs are fine. I'm moving them around. I said, man, I can't breathe. I got to get out of here. Whether it knocked the wind out of me or what. I did have 2 broken ribs. I got like a little sternum problem, and then like my shoulder blades and all that stuff. But I don't know really what was causing me to not breathe right. But I'm like, I ain't dying in this car. I'd rather die on the asphalt. So from what I understand, I just wanted to get out of the car, and they were gonna, I was fighting them to get out, and they would have had to tranquilizer me with something to keep me in there. So, but the one thing I do remember is when I know they took me by ambulance out to another ambulance that took me to Harborview, and when they got me in the ambulance that was transporting me, they gave me ketamine, which is like a hallucinogenic. Boy, I'll tell you what, Mr.
Let's go get back in the car. Get the backup out.
I was like in a cement mixer, roundy, spinny thing with colors. And I'm just like, what? This, give me some more of that, you know. So, and I mean, that's from a guy that smoked one joint in 8th grade. I mean, that was, I'm telling you, I mean, that stuff was
As good as
tripping.
it gets, huh?
I was flat tripping. And then my wife was in the front riding in the ambulance, but she said I was just cracking up. And I just like, I don't remember any of that. I know I was tripping, and then I don't remember anything. Um, and then I remember them saying that they couldn't save the finger, so they were going to have surgery the next day. And then I do remember them cleaning. There was not a drug strong enough to not remember them cleaning that wound and kind of stapling things shut and securing things for the night.
Yeah.
So and then it's kind of crazy. It's like my team came up. My team came up to my house after I got released on Monday, and Tony Stewart came up, and like I was talking to everybody, but I don't remember him being there. So
Must have been some good conversations, I bet.
oh yeah, well I do know Tony Stewart. He brought me a Hello Kitty backpack and a skull face coloring book. He says I want them all. I want
Nice.
all them skulls colored by the time you come back. So we've been working on a couple here and there.
Nice. Now, earlier before we started taping, you'd made a reference, or you said you had it full rudder right, and just going back to your history of drag boat racing. That's what I know. I've never really watched drag boat racing, so I gotta plead ignorance on it. But
Yeah.
how does that work? It seems like with drag racing, obviously, we stage and there's a finish line.
Yeah.
How does drag boat racing work?
Well, I didn't run a nitro boat. I ran an alcohol boat, but still, 180 on water seems like you're going pretty dang fast, right?
Yeah.
So, but you're right. Traditional drag racing on land, you have just, you have the Christmas tree. Of course, you got brakes on a car. On all the cars, got brakes, right? So, a boat is just completely different. You got 125-foot rolling start from, you hold the rope, and that's how you kind of, you aim where you want to go, and you're 125 feet from the start line. And then so their Christmas tree is a series of blinking lights, and then when the lights go solid, you got 5 seconds until the countdown clock comes up, and the countdown clock is a 9-count clock, but it's in half-second increments, so it's a 4.5-second clock. And then you leave, when the lights go solid, you got 5 seconds till the clock comes up. That's when you make your final preparations. You let go, you shut the lid, and you arm the system. And then the 9-count clock comes up, and then you leave on a portion of that. I usually leave on a portion of the 6 because that's my motor combination, prop combination, and then when I say a portion of that 6, it's because you've got wind, you've got current, you've got a lot of other factors, cold water, warm water. Props bite different in warm water and cold water. So I leave on a portion of the 6, and that 6 is a half second, a 0.500 of a light. Half second. And my average light in drag boats is probably 060, 070, 080, right around in there. So I'm breaking that half second light down into thirds and fourths, and when I leave, and the more consistent the boat every single time, the more consistent your lights are going to be at 125 feet when that light turns green. So but it's definitely different. But I got 20 years and 1,500 hits in that boat. Haven't crashed it yet. Knock on wood.
That is 100% way more technical than I ever would have imagined it being.
Yeah, it's not as easy as what people think.
That's a lot of information. I'm lost on the rope. I'm still on the rope.
Yeah, you got to toe out to the rope. You got to capture. You're holding the rope like this. It's a 2,000-pound boat. You got wind coming, current coming, and you got to hold it straight. And you got to let go with 7-8 seconds. And so if you got a little bit of a crosswind, you got to kind of aim into the wind, let go, and hope you drift back to where you want to be. Or you can steer these boats, but you can steer them in about the first 200 feet. So if you let go of the rope and you're off, and you don't drift back, well, then you got to put rudder in it, and it kills the light, and it kills the ET. You can go
Right.
from I ran a 560 class, so if I put a lot of rudder in it and stab at the throttle, I can run a 570, and I can and if I would have been straight and had the rudder straight, it would have been a 560. I mean, you can kill a tenth of a second real easy.
Well, it's I guess it's the same thing though as rolling in deep or shallow staging.
Yeah.
Everything's got its own little particulars.
Yeah.
Jordan, tell us about obviously last name Vandergriff. We know you come from the background, but what is your background coming up? Sportsman racing. How do we get into nitro? Pretty obvious, but just kind of take us through that.
Yeah. So, I grew up in the sport, watching my uncle Bob Vandergriff Jr., who we both drove for when we met, Shawn. And, I grew up watching him. He used to go to the racetrack, my home track. I'm from Southern California, so I would grow up going to Pomona, twice a year and going to watch him. And for me, it always seemed like this big far-fetched dream that like these big guys, my uncle and Tony Schumacher and these guys were just, they looked so like it was almost impossible. They were driving these big fast cars, and growing up, I was like, man, that's so cool. But, I could never do anything like that. Like that, they just seemed like these big figures. And as I got older and was trying to figure out my life, I was like, you know what, maybe I could do this, maybe I could do this and I could do it well. So, obviously I had, my uncle had the team and he was running it with some other people at the time. And we had a conversation. I said, what if I just want to give it a shot? He said, okay, if you want to give it a shot, we'll try it. So it was very quick from there. I went to Frank Hawley's drag racing school, got my Super Comp license. Frank Hawley was great. If you've never been, if you want to drive a Super Comp car, if you want to go to Frank Hawley's. It's great. You got a classroom. He'll teach you everything about the psyche of everything. And then you go and you make runs in the cars. And that was really huge for me. I really enjoyed that class. And then from there, Super Comp car. I think I went about 160, 170, on my passes there. And then it was straight to top alcohol dragster. So I went straight up to the highest level in the sportsman ranks.
So you went from 160, 170 to 270, 280 is somewhere in that range.
I will say it was quite a big jump, I will say. But like I said, I've always been confident in my ability, and I felt comfortable enough in the Super Comp car to get into the top alcohol car. So I ran that for a year. Did pretty well, just getting a feel for it. Those top alcohol dragsters are really fun. They're really fast. They leave just like a top fuel car. The only difference is the back half of the track. So you accelerate really very, similar to a top fuel car and the top alcohol car. They accelerate quickly off the starting line. Same. The only difference is the back half of the track. You kind of lose some of that acceleration on the top alcohol dragster. So from 200 to 275, it kind of slows down a little bit. And then, I ran that for a year and then made the step up to top fuel. And let me tell you, top fuel is different. Top fuel cars are different. Top alcohol cars, you can kind of get used to it. I started getting used to it. About half track, you'd kind of lean up a little bit. Acceleration wasn't as much. So you'd be like, okay, coasting through the finish line at 275, which is crazy to say. You're coasting through the finish line at 275. But
that is a bit weird.
Crazy to say.
Yeah, but they're running a quarter mile too. I mean, we're running in 660 feet. What they're running in a quarter mile an hour wise.
Right.
So that's what.
That's why I say top fuel cars are different. Yeah, we're going so much quicker. They accelerate the same off the starting line, but the top fuel car, it does not stop. It does not stop accelerating. It even accelerates even more in half track. And so that was a big learning curve. I think, you need a good 30, 40 runs in a top fuel car to really start feeling comfortable. And I've been there. I've gotten there. And then once you get the taste of the top fuel car, you never want to leave, right, Shawn? Shawn gets in there. Right? Look at he's itching to get back already.
He looks giddy as hell.
Dude, if I can get this past the doctor, Jordan would be out. I think I can get the wheel.
Yeah, I'm taking advantage of this opportunity because I know if somebody told Shawn tomorrow that he could go, I'd be out. I'd be packing my bag. So.
I would figure out a way how to put it in reverse. I promise you.
Yeah,
that's what I was about to say. I know you've climbed in there and seen what disadvantages you're going to have with one less digit. What have you found so far of any particular thing you got to hold a different way or?
No, I made sure that they took the knuckle and everything off. I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, if you just touch your hands right here and leave that digit out there, I mean, you'll be able to grip, do anything. It's just, I mean, I'm not even gonna know it's not there. I promise you. I mean, I gotta, I was a scratch golfer. I might have to go back to, I might have to drop down to a 4 or 5. But hey, what a great story if when I beat my friends and say, hey, I beat you with 9 fingers, man.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
you can always look at him and say, what's your handicap?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my handicap's I ain't got a finger. So it's gonna be all right, man. And when Jordan drove, back then, he had to put pistons and rods together. He's just like a paid driver over here now. He's gonna walk around with his chest puffed out, signing all them autographs, and he don't got to do a dang thing except step in a hot rod.
Well, wait a second, Shawn. I told the guys today, I said, hey, back when I drove, I used to do some stuff in between. So you guys got to give me some random things to do. So some of the guys told me, well, you can clean the oil pans then when we're done. I said, okay, just give me anything.
Just go hang out at the ropes and soak it up.
Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I got, yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I got a bunch of good guys, man. Jordan's been up there for the last. He's in Indy right now. He's been up there for the last couple of days, getting fitted in the car, moving a few things around the way he likes it. And yeah, I know he's very comfortable in that car. That car is built pretty good, so everything's set up real nice, and I know he'll like it.
What's the prognosis for Indy? Are we still holding off on a decision for that? Probably waiting to see what the doctors say, or
again, I mean, there's just a lot of options that can come my way.
Right.
I mean, I'm funding this whole car basically by myself and my company, which is basically very hard to do. I mean, it's everything I make back in Washington State building roads is coming over here to this race team. So the options that are going to come available to me are, do I have to run the race? If not, I may not. If I get past that, who do I want to put in the car? Would it be Jordan again? Or, there's a lot of people, calling me up with a few bucks here and a few bucks there. And if I don't have to, if I get enough points, then I may go for a little bit of, if I get enough points to where I can't get caught, I may go for a little bit of money, help. And, Jordan may be back in it. I may not run the race. I may have someone else in it. I just decided to hold off on making, or really even thinking about it. Cause my phone was going berserk. I mean, I got probably, 20 people call me up wanting to drive my car. We had a pizza delivered the other day and the guy says, I'll drive you a car. I'm a Pizza Hut delivery guy, I got everybody wanted to drive it. And you know what? I mean, I got a lot of good people, a lot of drivers that have licenses, a lot of guys that have driven before that don't have licenses. Some girls have been involved, and I've got I've got no issues with any one of them, and most everybody that reached out to me, I've got a thing for. I like them. They're all good people. I just I just kind of went with my gut. They kind of just felt like, I kind of teased Jordan with that Epping race earlier in the year. It never came out, and I'm like, what really did it, and Jordan don't even know this, what really did it, I was just struggling. I mean, I had people that would give me, a bunch of money to run this race in Brainerd. And my wife basically said, she says, if nobody had any money, who would you have drive the car? And I'm like, yeah, no shit, right? And I'm like, I just called up Jordan. I'm like, you're in, bro. And that's really kind of how it went. Cause I was just struggling with what to do and how to do it. And I'm like, I can't let money drive my train, even though money is what drives everybody's train. I mean,
that's what sends it down the track.
So, like I said, I'm not a big Sunday morning church guy, but God's got a plan for me. God, something tried to kill me. God don't want me, bro. I promise you that.
Right.
And and he's putting this team through 6-inch losses. I mean, I got the best dang car that won a race yet, I promise you. And this car's fast, and I'm like, God's just making me go through all these trials and turbulent times, because when we turn the corner and we start winning, we're gonna keep winning. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm kind of waiting for. I keep bouncing back.
That's awesome. Tell me something though, because this is where I have a lot of admiration for you in particular. Is your name is on the door, but your name is also on the sponsorship, right, on the car. Not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people can get by with that. It takes a lot of capital to drive these things, and to be able to fund your own team and to be in a position of, hey, maybe I don't even have to take a car to a race. I think that is a hell of an accomplishment in and of itself that I don't think is getting talked about enough, because that's tough to fund your own deal, man. That's tough, especially with just a one-off deal. You know what I mean? It's not like Shawn Reed trucking. It's not like it's
Yeah. I mean, I really, my story's, pretty simple, man. I mean, back when I started running, back in 2015, I was running 3 or 4 times a year for, Barry and Todd Payton. And, and then, I just, I really, I got the call from Bob Vandergriff when Blake Alexander did the exit and went to, I think, a funny car, right?
His own
He
team.
went to his own funny car, and I'm like, so I brought a little bit of sponsor money over in 2019, and my sponsors, Barbara and Floyd Hughes, they passed away during COVID, and I'm like, I gotta be honest with you, man. I'm just like, I didn't, I mean, I had like 6 guys working for me in 2018 and 2019. And now I got 40, and I'm like, so the reason I sat for 4 years, and I always had a, somewhat of a self-retirement, and that's how I bought the car. I mean, I spent $3.5 million buying all the assets, the trucks, the trailers, 2 cars, all the motors. I mean, I spent my whole retirement buying all that stuff, and then I had to figure out how to run it.
Yeah,
So
just to be able to figure out how to get there, right?
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, now I got 40 employees, and I grew my company up to where I can barely afford to run a Top Fuel car, and I really am still, running it on a really a shoestring budget. I mean, I don't spare no expense, but we also don't blow up a lot of stuff, and we don't pour a lot of time into it. We at the down track, we don't typically popping blowers off the things. We're not blowing things up. I mean, I think I really hurt one motor in 31 races now. I've hurt one motor. So we're trying to go fast. But we're also trying to run the car right and run the team right. We don't have the budget, and even if I had the budget, I wouldn't run like some of these guys do with all the money they got. I mean, to each its own. But I don't want to. I work way too hard for my money.
Just
if I'm gonna,
responsible chaos.
yeah, if I'm gonna go broke, I might as well just crack beer and watch reruns of Oprah on the couch. Seems simpler. Whatever.
That'll make you go a lot of things.
Exactly.
Well, boys, I can't thank you guys enough for taking some time out of your schedules, out of your time to join us here on Above the Yellow Line Media and Nitro Nation. Been a great conversation, fellas. I really appreciate it. Jordan will be cheering for you, and maybe we'll bring the Wally back with you next time. That sounds good.
You never know. And what we got to do is
we'll go rebook the Wally interview right now. How about that? Sounds good.
We got to get some of them big NASCAR boys out there to realize that with a little bit of money we can grab Jordan and put him in my second car next year and run a 2-car team and mess with some people.
There you go.
There you go.
Shawn, good luck the rest of the season. Healed up. Good to see you back out there whenever you get back out there.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jordan, good luck in Brainerd, and we'll see what U.S. Nationals bring and on to the playoffs, boys.